Hey, everybody, it's Tim.
And Joy.
We're back here for Live and Found, episode 20.
I can't believe that.
When we started this in July, it was, it seems so long ago, and we've covered so much,
Yeah.
but it's great. And today we're going to talk about signal number 4. We're back on our signals, and we're talking about local relevance and uh, what we mean by that.
Well, and local relevance is really important. And all the signals are, so I don't want to say that every week because that sounds cliche. But local relevance is very important because AI really looks for local.
Yeah.
I guess
I
that's how I want to say it.
But I think what we're finding is when we've added the bias level and we added the behavior level, local relevance is so much more deeper than we initially thought. I, I'm going to be honest. What we originally thought when we did local relevance is we thought, hey, AI we'll just throw out your address in the schema. We'll just throw it on your website, and we'll just mention the location in your posts, and AI will pick it up. But it's so much more about those bias levels and the behavior levels that it's kind of it's new, and it's the old local relevance is still there, but it's so much deeper now.
Well, and I don't think it's fair to say like what we thought. AI's gotten a lot smarter than when we started in July. I mean, we've been on the AI search bandwagon for quite a while. And it seems like when we go around and revisit the signals, they've gotten deeper and broader to encompass more things. And local relevance is one of those signals that has really expanded as AI search has expanded.
I love that. I think that's fantastic. That's a fantastic analogy because it has. I mean, it has gone from being pinpointed to being so much broader and more comprehensive that it truly is learning. We truly learn as much from AI as AI learns from us.
Well, and we were just talking this morning, like, as we go through these signals and we go back around, because that's one of the discussions we had was we need to redo it. So we prepare, and what we're finding out is how much smarter AI has gotten since our last pass through. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what local relevance we're talking about now.
What we're talking about now. All right. So local relevance is AI learning who is trusted in the community, not just who is nearby. I think we're so, I don't know, I don't want to say trained, but we've kind of been trained in our lives to ask, you know, local coffee shops near me when we do a Google search,
Right.
or best places for a haircut in Colorado Springs. Um, right now with AIs and the behavior level being so important, I think the behavior level is vital to local relevance because you have to, as a business owner now, you really have to get those uh, reviews from local people. You really need to answer those local people's questions and refer them as local people. If you have a customer, you cut hair, and your customer says, "What's a good winter style? A good Christmas vacation haircut?" You need to say things like, "Joy from Colorado Spring asked," and that builds up that local relevance, and it shows that you are responding to the community. And that's where AI is really picking up is how are you responding to your community and what they're asking for? And that's what it's looking for.
Well, and it's funny because what's great about that is um, it's not a game of being a big company. That's not the game. The
Right.
game is being a small company, but doing the things that make you stand out. So, let's say if you had a retail shop and let's say you carried Colorado products, soaps, lotions, whatever. With the seasons changing, you can say our products are made in Colorado Springs from Colorado ingredients. And why you would want to use this in Denver is because the the lack of humidity makes your skin dry out, and you can use Colorado products to solve it. It's tying in where you are with what you do.
Locally sourced seems to be so huge for small businesses. Be it a restaurant, be it, like you said, somebody who makes candles, somebody who makes soaps, um, even somebody who works in plumbing. Locally sourced is so vital to the community, and what you need to show AI is that you're locally sourced and you're part of the community. And AI does respond to that better than we initially thought when
Yeah.
we did the initial signal for.
Yeah. And I think what ties into that is, of course, reviews and asking for reviews, getting reviews. And I think, and we can talk about that. But the other thing I wanted to bring up before I forget it is just being active in the community. And that could be writing articles to the local paper, that could be speaking at conferences, holding webinars, providing guides to the community. I mean, it can take so many different forms in terms of being active in the community. And we always think about sponsoring a team, a sports team, but there's so many different ways that you can plug into your community that AI will recognize it.
I agree. And one of the things that I feel you need to be as a small business is play into that you know your customers better than the big ones, than the large corporations. The best analogy to me, and I'm a big guy and I love it, but it's McDonald's. When you go to McDonald's and you go to a McDonald's in New York City, you go to one in Chicago, you go to one in Los Angeles, you know what to expect. You're going to get the same hamburger or chicken nugget that you got everywhere else. What small businesses need to do now is they need to play into that local slant, and where they are better, a better tasting burger in Colorado Springs, and here's why. We use beef from, our local ranch. We use tomatoes and onions from our local suppliers, you
Right.
know, and it's going to mean so much more to people because you have that local slant, and it's not going to be the same. It's not the same cookie cutter when you're from place to place.
So, how do you say we talked about reviews a little bit, super important, but are you saying that you should put the local slant and those type of things like in an FAQ or in a blog or on your website? What sets you apart from everybody else?
Everything, like what you just said, is everything. I think when you do an FAQ, it's important to reference the person that asked that question. When you do a blog, highlight the importance of it's going to be different here in Colorado Springs, even in Colorado. It's different from northern Colorado to southern Colorado on what you need to do for your pipes, what you need to do for your lawn, what you need, what people respond to better for knitted um, garments. Everything is different just in this section you're at. I think you have to highlight that in your blogs, in your FAQs. Colorado is not just Denver. Colorado is there's a variety and you can say that in every state. Texas is not just Dallas, and Washington is not just Seattle. Every state has their local charm and their local take on things. So it's important that you highlight that when you do your blogs, when you do your FAQs, when you do your your posts.
Well, and I think, not I think, you also have to respond to comments. Like if you get a review, you have to respond to it. And I'm horrible at this. I mean, I just am. But it's so important to show that you're engaged. But that's another way, if you respond to a review or a comment, that you can plug your local. You can plug that you're local.
And I think you hit the key to it is keep plugging that you're local. And that's what AI and that will lead to what is so important for the behavior level. That will lead to people going to your website more often. It will lead to them dwelling on it. And we really, when we first did Signal 4, we kind of undersold repeat visitors to the website.
Right.
I think we really didn't do a good job of highlighting how important somebody coming back to your website more than once is important to building your local relevance. So,
Totally. And I think too, the last thing we kind of want to hit on today is the bias for small business. And I think it's kind of layered. Like, you, as a small business owner, you don't think you have an opportunity to be found. And nothing is further from the truth. You have to leverage that you're a small business. And if you're smart about it, it puts you ahead of a bigger business. And the reason for that is your uniqueness. And if you play into your uniqueness, then you get a benefit from it. So it's kind of like a mind shift for the small business owner, where you thought you can compete in SEO, you can compete in advertising, you can compete because you didn't have the marketing dollars. AI is not that way. AI, you can't buy your way to be an AI referral. There's no way to buy it, at least not yet. And if you leverage what you're unique about and you're consistent and you do the things that you need to do, AI will reward you for that and provide you as an answer. Just because you're big doesn't mean you're better.
right, it's looking for um, what it's looking. AI is looking for who's the best, and it's looking for and really honestly, AI doesn't determine who's the best. We determine who's the best, and then AI tells us what other people say is the best.
True.
And we get that a lot. You know, you ask a question to AI, and it'll say, "Well, here's what people are saying," or "Here's what we found about this business that people like." And it's so true right now that AI is. You know, people say, "Well, I'm scared of AI because AI is going to determine what my actions are." No, AI is just reflecting what our actions are. It's
Good
just
point.
telling us what our actions are. And it's so important for you to play into your flexibility, your strengths, so that AI can say, "Oh, I want this personal injury attorney because he is so good based on what other people are saying. Oh, I want this honey because it is so delicious as compared to everybody else's. I want this tea. I want this knitted cap." And play into it. Play in that you are unique and you are the best. And here's what people are saying and showing you why you're the best.
Love it. All right. So that's signal 4. If you guys have questions that you want us to follow up on signal 4, please reach out to us. You can follow us on YouTube and LinkedIn. You can message
X.
in
Don't forget X.
at X and Facebook. Um, we are continually learning how AI is showing up in search. And we wholeheartedly believe that if you are not in the AI search game quickly, Q1, Q2 of 2026, if you haven't made a connection with AI, you're going to have a hard time making a connection. You know, last night, my closing thought last night, I was in my BNI group, and my commercial was, the one thing I get so tired of hearing is, I do all my business comes from referrals. So that was my commercial. I said, if you're that person that says, all my business comes from referrals, let me tell you something. Once you get a referral, if you don't think they're looking you up, you're mistaken. And if they don't have a digital footprint, if you don't have a digital footprint of you and your business, you are invisible. And that's going to give people pause on that referral. Because if they can't find you, they're going to wonder how successful, authentic, engaging your business is. So don't think you can live on the bread and butter of referrals, because people our age might live off of referrals, but everybody else goes to verify by the digital footprint that you have.
And that's what AI is looking for. So make your bread and butter those referrals, but make sure AI knows that they're authentic. That's all we're asking. That's it for this week. We will see you again next week for our next Live and Found. We're going to go over Signal 5 and
Awesome.
see how AI's learned more about that. So join us next week for another adventure with Joy and Tim on Live and Found. See you then.